you better have given me books. Hey guys, today I'm going to be posting my very first book review, and it's going to be over My True Love Gave to Me, edited by Stephanie Perkins. My cover is shiny because this is a library copy, sorry about that. So this is a collection of 12 holiday stories by 12 different authors. This book was just overall amazing. I kept reading and reading, and I would read one and say, oh man, this is definitely going to be my favorite of the whole book. I know it, I love it so much. And then I would get to the next story and be like, oh, I was wrong, this is a new favorite. And then I would get to the next story, it's like, this one's a favorite too. They were all so good. Every story in this book was between 3 and 5 stars for me, and most of them were 5 stars. So overall, I gave this book a 5 stars on GOODREADS. The genres of the stories range from contemporary to fantasy, and there's a little supernatural in some of them. But one thing that really stood out to me about this book was how diverse the characters were. I think there's something for everyone in this book, and it will definitely give you the warm and fuzzies, which are perfect for this time of year. So I just kind of wanted to break this down story by story and tell you a little bit of a summary, and I'll tell you what I rated each of them individually and kind of break down my thoughts on them. So the first story is Midnights by Rainbow Rowell. This is about a group of teenagers who always get together for New Year's Eve parties. And you kind of see the parties leading up year by year until finally they're at the first party since going off for college, and they're coming back and reuniting. If you like Rainbow Rowell books, you will like this story. It is very typical rainbow romance and swoon. It was very cute. I gave this story 4 stars. Next was The Lady and the Fox by Kelly Link. This story was about a girl who attends a friend's Christmas party every year, and each year she sees this guy standing outside peering in the window, and he never seems to age at all. I gave this one 3 stars because I had a lot of trouble connecting. The end had a really interesting development, which I did really like, but I found myself thinking that I just wanted to know more of the hows and the whys. The next story was Angels in the Snow by Matt de la Peña. This was about a guy who couldn't afford to travel home for the Christmas break, so he's house sitting one of his friend's apartments. And the girl in the apartment upstairs comes knocking on his door one night because her plumbing is out. So it sets up a very interesting situation. I loved this story. I gave this one 5 stars. I've never read anything by this author before, but I just loved the characters, and I wanted a full-length book on this. The next story was Polaris is Where You'll Find Me by Jenny Han. This is about Santa Claus's adoptive daughter. It's set in the North Pole. I thought that this story was just too short. It was probably the shortest one in the book, and I didn't really enjoy the way that the romance played out exactly, so I did give this 3 stars. Next is It's a Yuletide Miracle, Charlie Brown by Stephanie Perkins. Stephanie is the queen of fluffy romance, and that is exactly what you will get in this story. It's about this girl who is just hanging around a Christmas tree lot because she thinks the guy that works there is cute, and he ends up persuading her to buy a Christmas tree, but she doesn't have anywhere to put it. I loved the romance between these characters, and I gave it 5 stars. Next was Your Temporary Santa by David Levithan. And this is about a guy who was convinced to dress up like Santa so that he can convince his boyfriend's little sister that Santa is real. This was the most straightforward story in the whole book to me, so I gave it like a 3.5. Next is Krampuslauf, or Krampuslauf by Holly Black. This is about a group of friends who are at a Krampusnacht run where everyone dresses up like this, it's kind of like an alternative Santa that has horns and looks kind of scary, kind of like a demon. And this one guy just has a really realistic costume. And this group of friends ends up throwing a New Year's Eve party, and that guy shows up. I thought that the writing was really good in this and that it was a good story, but for some reason it just didn't click with me. It was maybe too intense for a short story, so I gave this 3.5 stars. Next is What the Heck Have You Done, Sophie Roth by Gail Foreman.
Yeah, I know, I don't curse.
This is about Sophie, obviously, who's going to college at a school that she just doesn't like in a very small town. The holidays are just so hokey and ridiculous to her. And she ends up meeting a guy that kind of feels the same way. Some of the scenes in this story were just very, very adorable. I absolutely loved it. This is classic Gail Foreman, and I would love a full-length book of Sophie and Russell's story. I gave this 5 stars, and again, this was another favorite of this collection. Next was Beer Buckets and Baby Jesus by Myra McIntyre. This was about a class troublemaker who accidentally burns down a church's storage shed, so all of their nativity program props and costumes are ruined, and instead of going to juvie, the pastor of the church steps in and says, you can work for us and help us put the program together. He ends up working very closely with the preacher's daughter. It's set in the South, and I'm from the South, so I found this to be a very accurate portrayal of how I experience Christmas. And there was a lot of humor. I haven't read anything by this author before, but definitely would like to pick some more up now based on this story. And again, this could definitely be a full-length book on its own. I gave it 5 stars. Next was Welcome to Christmas, California by Kirsten White. This is about a girl who lives in a small town named Christmas, California, and she works in her mom's diner, and they suddenly have to get a new cook, and he's about her age, and there's just something kind of magical about this new cook. This was a very cute, very sweet story. I really enjoyed it, so I would say maybe 4.5 stars for this one. Next was Star of Bethlehem by Allie Carter. It's about a girl in an airport who sees another girl not wanting to go where her ticket is for, but her ticket is non-refundable. So the main character, Lydia, offers to exchange tickets because she's going where the other girl wants to go. I thought that this story packed the biggest emotional punch for me. I gave this one 5 stars. The last book was The Girl Who Woke the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I expected Laini Taylor's story to have the strongest fantasy element of everything in this book, and it really did. If you've read her Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, you know that she's an incredible fantasy author, but it felt a little bit out of place with the rest of the stories in this book. It was set around Advent, but what was going on in the story just superseded all of that, and it was just a little bit different. And I think I would have enjoyed it more if it had been in a different collection, or maybe was a whole story of its own. I gave it a 4 stars. So that's it for my review. This was a very cute book. I think this will be in my favorites of 2014. It was just overall a good experience. You had romance, you had diversity, you had several different genres. It made me want to get my hands on books by authors who I had never read before. That's probably the point of a collection like this, so it's doing its job well. If you've read this one, let me know down below what you thought about it, or if you want to read it, let me know which story you think you're looking forward to the most. Krampuslauf. Krampuslauf? Krampuslauf? Krampuslauf?
Dang it!